Our scripture today is from the Gospel of Luke. We're going to be reading from the first chapter, verses 46 through 56. Hear the word of the Lord. And Mary said, "My soul magnifies the Lord, and my spirit rejoices in God my Savior. For he has looked with favor on the lowliness of his servant. Surely, from now on, all generations will call me blessed. For the Mighty One has done great things for me, and holy is his name. His mercy is for those who fear him from generation to generation. He has shown strength with his arm. He has scattered the proud in the thoughts of their hearts. He has brought down the powerful from their thrones and lifted up the lowly. He has filled the hungry with good things and sent the rich away empty. He has helped his servant Israel in remembrance of his mercy, according to the promise he made to our ancestors, to Abraham and to his descendants forever." And Mary remained with Elizabeth about 3 months and then returned to her home. This is the word of God for us, the people of God. Thanks be to God.
Thank you, Pastor Emily. Today's passage, if you didn't catch it, it's not spoken words. It's words that are communicated in song, in music. As I was reflecting on today's passage this week, it occurred to me just how central music is to our church. For example, the last 2 weeks, we've had 3 really big music programs here. Just on Friday, we had our preschool music program, and we had our 130 preschoolers on the stage. And I think Lisa Sutherland and I thought that we would have maybe half the congregation full. To our surprise, it was like Easter Sunday morning, like standing room only. The grandparents came, the friends of the parents' friends came, and it was just awesome. And Taylor, y'all, if y'all have not seen Taylor work with children, he is awesome. He is so good. He led the kids in the reindeer hokey pokey. If you can imagine Taylor doing the reindeer hokey pokey, it's on video, and I'm waiting for the right moment to show it. The moment that would be most embarrassing for him, so look for that, Taylor. And then we had, last Sunday, the 8:45 service, we had our Christmas cantata, our choir sung for 45 minutes. These beautiful songs, and the church was packed out for that as well. And then 2 weeks ago, for this service, we had our Kids Crew music program. The stage was full of children. Every seat here was full. And I remember right before that, I leaned over to Pastor Emily and I said, "Emily, these people are not here to listen to me preach. This place is packed for a different reason. They're here to hear the music. They're here for these children to sing God's praises." And so there's something about music that brings people together, that inspires. You can take average words, an average poem, but if you put great music to it, those words fly off the page. Those words which did not inspire all of a sudden become inspiring. And so, I was reading a commentary this week that said, as you're preaching the Magnificat, Mary's song, don't preach it with words, sing your sermon. But I care about you, no. Do you want your ears to believe? Because that's exactly what would happen if I sung the sermon. So I'm not going to do that. But what I thought I would do is, as we're kind of searching for our right song this morning, I thought I'd play a game with you. There's a game show actually that I watched when I grew up. It's called Name That Tune. Remember Name That Tune? All right. So if you don't remember, if you've ever seen it, there's like a category, a clue. You say, all right, the clue is this. How many notes can you name that song in? So you say, I can name it like 4 notes or 4 seconds or whatever, and you try to guess it. I want to do that with you. Lane, I need your help. The first song there, Lane, can you, this is a test. This should be very, very easy. Lane, can you play the first 3 seconds of that song? Okay. What song is that?
Sweet Home Alabama.
Okay. Again, that was a test. If you do not know that and you're from the South, I'm taking your Southern card from you. Okay. All right. The next song, the clue here is 80s. Play the first 3 seconds of that. What song is it? Really? You guys? I thought that would be harder. Okay. I saw a lot of y'all like, one time after time. All right. This one is really hard. So the clue to this is TV theme song. TV theme song. Play the first 2 seconds of this, Lee, if you could.
What's that?
What? Come on! That was going to be the hard one. Oh, all right. Those are Flintstones. Okay. Now the next one was a really expensive one. I'm probably going to be sued for this. So maybe we don't put this part on YouTube. But the clue for this one is the 60s. Play the first 3 seconds, Lane, if you could. What was that? Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds? Any other guesses? Nope. Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. Sorry. Stairway to Heaven's a good guess. I kind of set you up for that. I'm sorry. I was like, any other guesses? You're wrong. Sorry, that was bad. Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. I'm probably going to be sued by Ringo. All right. The next one, this is the really, truly hard one. And so, if maybe 2 of you know this, I would be stunned if, actually I'd be stunned if you wouldn't do this. Curtis Campbell knew it because it's Curtis Campbell. So I'm going to give you 10 seconds. This song is part of a big, greater work. It's the beginning of a masterpiece, okay? So play the first 10 seconds of this, and we'll see if anybody gets it. Any guesses? What was it? The Messiah. Yeah, it's the Messiah. You get a gold star, Molly. Thank you. Yeah. You didn't know I was getting a gold star. Way to go. Yeah. This is the Messiah. Okay, so Wayne, can you keep playing it? Actually, play it a little bit softer. Yeah. This is the Messiah. Okay, I had never heard of the Messiah until Tuesday in staff meeting. So Curtis Campbell, the man, the myth, was in a production of the Messiah. He was singing the Messiah, I guess Monday night somewhere in New Bern, and some of the staff had seen it, and they were congratulating him on how good he was in it, and saying how great the production was. And I said, very stupidly, I said, "What is the Messiah?" Which is a really weird question for a minister to ask. And they were kind of like, "Whoa, what? You don't know what that is?" There's all these famous songs in it. Apparently, it's written by a guy named Handel, George Friedrich Handel. I didn't know. If you had said Handel's Messiah to me, I would have never been able to tell you what it means. But he wrote I listened to it. Curtis sent me a link because the staff kind of made fun of me. Remember, Mama, when they made fun of me and belittled me for not knowing? I said, I gotta learn what this is. And so I went on YouTube and I watched this beautiful performance, and I was so immersed in it. It was transcendent, these sounds. And so I actually bought the album. I don't think Handel calls it an album. But there's like 56 songs. And it lasts for 3 hours. There's emotional highs and lows. And then there's all these songs that I recognize. Wayne, can you play the next song? Maybe you'll know this song. Turn up a little bit if you can. What is this? For unto us a child is born, someone said? Yeah, well, that's what it is. That was Molly. Molly, we're playing a game here, Molly. Keep it going, man. Yeah, keep it going. So I knew this song, I had heard this before so many times, but I had no idea that it came from Handel's Messiah. And as I was listening this week to this song, I remember something that Curtis Campbell told me about this on Tuesday. He said that Handel wrote this entire work in 24 days. 24 days! He wrote the music for this in 24 days. How does that happen? How do you do that? How do you write a piece of work that's so big, it's so extensive, and it lasts for generations and generations, and is studied in music classes? I don't know how that's possible. I'm not a composer, I'm not a songwriter, but I don't know how that is humanly possible. The only explanation that I know of is that you are so inspired, and that something is boiling inside of you that's so deep that it just bursts out. And I can just imagine this guy named Handel, whatever, sitting at his table saying, "I just got to put this music on paper." And there's no other explanation, but he must have been writing fiercely for hours and hours and hours, just trying to get this beautiful piece of work on paper. And I've had moments like that too. And maybe if you're into music, or maybe you've written some songs where something hits you, you have an inspired moment, and you just gotta, it's like a heart burst. You just gotta get it out there on paper. And so I was preparing for today's sermon and reflecting on the Magnificat. I began to see parallels between Handel's Messiah and what Mary was singing about. Mary, in her poverty, in the midst of the challenges that she was having, being an unwed, pregnant teenager, in the midst of all of the shame she was receiving from her family and her friends, had this heartburst, this connection with God, and she just burst out in song. And it was the same kind of thing with the Messiah, this beautiful bursting forth of song. And you can turn it down, man. I think they're tired right now. They're over right now. Well, get back to the Beatles, please. Mary's Magnificat, we call it the Magnificat because that's Latin for magnify. My soul will magnify the Lord. It will glorify the Lord. And so she sings a song, and she says, my soul is magnifying the Lord. It's giving praise to God. It's just coming forth. And then there's an audience. I don't know if you remember the audience. We didn't read it, but there's an audience called John the Baptist who's in the womb of Elizabeth, and John is dancing for joy as a baby. That's a pretty cool audience move. I'm sure he was doing the reindeer hokey pokey. But why? Why was Mary's soul singing? Why did Mary's soul burst into song? And can our soul do the same? Have you ever had a moment where your soul was just so overjoyed that you just felt like singing with rapture? Does that describe an experience that you've had? A couple things I want to say about Mary real quick. We often revere Mary, and for good reason. But I don't want us to neglect the fact that Mary was extremely impoverished. She was a young peasant girl, a preteen, who was pregnant. Being an unwed pregnant mother was against the law, punishable by death. Joseph gave her, thankfully, an act of mercy by not turning her in. And so everyone is beginning to notice, she's pregnant now. It's beginning to show her family and her friends. It doesn't go into much detail, but you can imagine the shame that would have been on her. And then she makes this journey from Nazareth to a Judean village, and it's a journey that takes about 70 miles. It would have taken a couple of weeks to make on foot. There's no Joseph, there's no anybody to take care of her. There's no donkey to ride on. She is there making this over dirty, sandy, rugged mountains, over rocks, while she's pregnant. I have never been pregnant, obviously, but I'm told it comes with challenges. Imagine walking 70 miles while being pregnant to this place. And she's doing it to see Elizabeth, her cousin, and to get some advice from the older, wiser Elizabeth, who herself is also pregnant. And so she makes the journey of a young peasant girl, and she is marrying a peasant man who's a poor carpenter who has nothing going for him whatsoever, no future other than just getting by. They're living in a podunk town called Nazareth. There is nothing going for them. And then she knows she's pregnant, and as Luke 1 tells us later, this priest named Simeon comes to her, and he holds Christ in his hand, and he says, Mary, it's great right now, but I'm telling you, this child is going to bring you tears. You're going to watch him be shamed and rejected and spat on and beaten, and it's going to break your heart. He said it's going to be like a sword piercing your soul. And so yes, she's giving birth to the Messiah, but there's a lot of challenges that comes with that, and it's hurting her soul. And so she is, in every way, she is extremely, extremely poor. But then on the flip side, she's also extremely wealthy. That unmarried boyfriend of hers that she has, well, he's a good man, as it turns out. And he loves her, and he's going to take care of her and her baby. And that way she's rich. She's got Elizabeth, who is older and wiser and pregnant, and they're having this shared experience. In that way, she is rich. She also has a strong faith. And an angel spoke to her and told her what her purpose in life is going to be. So many of us just want that. And in that way, she is rich. And so out of her poverty and out of her wealth comes this Magnificat, this song that magnifies God, that glorifies God. And she sings this song for a couple reasons. She's excited about what God is going to do in the world. But most of all, as she begins her song, she says, I am blessed. Generations after me will come later and they'll say, look at Mary, she was blessed. And we're saying it still today because she was right. She was blessed. And she said she was blessed because her life was in service for God. It had nothing to do with how rich or poor she was. It had everything to do with God. I want you to imagine for a moment that, and I'm sure you probably have a very close friend that you can speak truth to and get good feedback from. Let's say you go to that friend and you pull them aside and you say, tell me all the ways that you are rich and tell me all the ways that you are poor. And your friend, whom you've always perceived as being wealthy, said this. Well, I'm rich in that my parents were very wealthy growing up. I never had to sacrifice anything as a child. I always had toys for Christmas, a great big home. I never had to get a job as a teenager. My parents paid for car insurance and gas, and they made sure that I had all my programs were taken care of. I never had to pay for anything in my life, not even a musical instrument or not even car payments. And then in college, my parents, they paid for that too. They were wealthy. They wanted to do that for me, so I never paid a dime for college. I never had to work in college. I'm rich also because I was born intelligent, and I got great grades, and I didn't have to work as hard as maybe others did. And then when I got out of my prestigious school, I got a job pretty easily. I never had to go job hunting, really difficult. That's going to be a difficult thing. It was never me. And then, I met my spouse pretty easily, and we had 2 kids. And in all of these ways, I am so wealthy. And then you say, tell me how you're poor. And they say to you, well, even though I have all of these resources, it's never really fulfilled me. I've never really been all that happy. And I'm also poor because a lot of the friends that I grew up with, as they were growing up too, I was always kind of jealous of them because there's always somebody smarter than me. And even the friends today, I'm jealous of the ones who have a better career than I do. And in that way, I'm poor. And they also say, I really struggle being a good parent. I feel like I'm letting my children down all the time. And I don't have a lot of patience, and in that way I'm also poor. And then your friend turns the tables on you, and they say, tell me how you're rich, and tell me how you're poor. And you say to them, well, my parents weren't wealthy growing up. And when I was 14, I had to get a job. And I've had a job since I was 14. And I've had to work hard, and I had to pay for my own car. And then when college came, my parents said, we can't help you, we don't have the money. And so I had to work all through college, and I had to pay, and I'm still paying for it. And then when I got out of school, I couldn't find a good job. I had to work somewhere I didn't want to work for a really long time. And then when I did get that job, I didn't like it. And then I was unemployed again. And then I got married and had 2 kids. And now I'm even struggling more because now we're not together, but the kids live with me, and I'm just scraping by. And in all of those ways, I am poor. But I am rich because I've had to work hard all my life. And I have pride because I've worked for everything I've got. And I'm rich because my children are my world. And I don't feel like I have to worry about what other people think of me. I just worry about what my kids think. And I just focus on them and their love for me. And so in that way, I am rich. And I'm rich too because I play a great musical instrument. And I have this great talent. And when I feel lost, I just go on the piano and play, or I play my saxophone or whatever. In all of these ways, I am poor. In all of these ways, I am rich. And the point is, what I'm trying to make here is that we are not either poor or rich. We are all poor and rich. All of us have poverty, and all of us have wealth. Yet in our society, we try to classify ourselves as either one or the other. Dr. Wells used to be the dean at Duke Chapel, said that wealth is a label that we put on someone that hides their poverty. And being poor is a label that we put on someone that hides their riches. Let me tell you something. Those 47 kids that we gave gifts to this week, those families may have riches that you and I don't have. And then they look at us and they say, wow, they've got better jobs than we do, and we've got riches that they don't have. Yet we are poor in ways that they are not. All of us are rich and poor, and that should be a very humbling thing. And so we don't sing songs out of our wealth, and we don't sing songs out of our poverty. In this thing called the school of life, not everyone makes A pluses in every class. Maybe you did an actual school, but no one is good at everything, despite what you may make others think. The only constant, because we all get A's and C's and D's and F's, the only constant is that we have this classmate called God who's with us through the successes and through the challenges and through the failures and through the highs and through the lows. And so Mary puts all of that aside. She puts her wealth aside. She puts her poverty aside. She says, none of this matters. The only thing that matters is that God is moving through me. And that's where her song came from. This wasn't a love song in the traditional sense. It wasn't a song about what she had or didn't have. This was a song about God. It was that moment where God was moving through her. That is what it means to have a Magnificat. There's a pretty popular hashtag. It's been popular for a while now. I'm sure you've seen it on social media. Someone's at a restaurant. You know what I'm about to say, right? They're at a restaurant, they get a great dessert, and it's like beautiful, and you know it's going to taste good. So they take a picture of it. They put it on Facebook or wherever, and it says hashtag blessed, right? Or maybe you're on the beach somewhere, and you've got your legs kicked up, and you're looking out over the open waters, and you post a picture, and you hashtag blessed. We do this, and I think there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. But it's almost become cliche that Americans give praise to things that are really not as consequential. And, I was thinking about 2 weeks ago when we were celebrating our Zoe orphans. I mentioned this before. But 2 weeks ago, we were celebrating our orphans, and there was someone here who had just met with them. And he didn't say it in this service. He said it in the next one. But he said, those orphans, they sung and they gave us gifts, and they were so excited that now, because of this partnership, they can now have 2 meals a day. And when he said that, because he didn't say that to the other two, when he said that, I stopped him and I said, wait a minute, what did you say? They're still only getting 2 meals a day? If I have 2 meals a day, I go home and I tell Lindsay, I only had 2 meals a day. I missed lunch. I've been grumpy all afternoon. I missed breakfast, and I ate a big lunch to make up for it. And when we miss a meal, we notice. Very rarely does anyone in this room miss a meal. No one ever says, oh, I forgot to eat today. No, because getting 3 meals a day is what we do. One person's 2 meals is another person's 2 meals plus a night out at the Oceanic with calamari and the surf and turf dinner with the cheesecake. It's amazing that when we don't get the best meal at the restaurant that we order from, or when something doesn't taste good, we say, oh, man, really lucked out, or I really messed up there. I should have got something different. It's amazing the things that we complain about, yet getting 2 meals a day, going from 1 meal a week to 2 meals a day, their heart just... It's like when I was in college, my freshman year, I got a C in math. And I told my parents, I said, guys, I got a C in math. And they were thrilled. They said, you got a C in math? You're done with math for the rest of your life. Congratulations. Remember when you got F's in math in high school? You know how bad you are at math? This is the best news ever. Yet if some of you got a C in math, you would have freaked out. Your world would have been ending. It's all about perspective. Those orphans that we partner with, they are exceedingly rich now in their hearts, yet they are still exceedingly poor. We are rich and we are poor. But yet we have this constant, this God who's working through us, who's moving through us. Maybe you've been in this position before. This happens to me just about every day. Whether I'm on a walk or doing some work on my computer, I try to find the song, the right song that captures my mood. That song that will lift my spirits up and make me feel better. That song that will inspire me. And I'll be honest, usually it's not the Christian song. I think God speaks through secular music too, in major ways. In fact, I just look for good music because I think that God really speaks through good music. But it's hard to find the right song for the moment. Maybe I'm on my jog and I'm trying to find that song to really empower me on that last mile. I'm scrolling. Nope. There it is. That's the song that's going to get me through. And I think, in a spiritual sense, many of you are still trying to find that song. You're still trying to find that song that's going to empower you and push you forward. And you're still searching. You're doing that soul searching, that song searching. And when you hear the Magnificat, you hear a soul that is finally at peace, that is finally rejoicing and saying, my life is God's now. It is for you, God. So let me sing and glorify you now. I have hit that spiritual flow, that spiritual groove. That is what the Magnificat is. And so everything I've said to you now is building up just to ask you this one question. Have you found your Magnificat yet? Have you found that song in your soul, that connection to God that makes your soul sing with rapture? Have you found that Magnificat yet? Let us pray. God, we give thanks for music. Not just the songs that come from our lips, but the songs that we feel in our soul. Lord, you have given us the words through Scripture, through the advice and the encouragement of one another, yet your Spirit is like the music that makes it fly off the pages. And so, Lord, fill us now with your Spirit and empower us through your holy song. Lord, speak to us now, God, as we praise your name one final time. Lord, help us to hear you, help us to connect to you through now this final song. In your name we pray. Amen.